Hello folks, it's project time here at Homestone Hosted. I didn't get much sleep last night. Stonehouse Homestead. Welcome back to Stonehouse Homestead, where we're doing whatever we can with whatever money we have, because that's just the way it is. Melissa does that whole spiel. Anyway, today's project is to convert this doorway between the old section of the house, the 150-year-old section, to the 10-year-old addition. One of the ways that we save money is by renting out the new addition and living in the old. So we had originally built the addition for my mother and my grandmother when my father passed away. They lived down in Florida. I mean, come on, that's God's waiting room. So when my father passed away, we built this addition so that my mom and my grandmother could live here. They've passed away, and we decided to rent out the lower section of the new addition, and that helps our income, how we pay the mortgage, and of course be able to save money. So this door section here is about 1.5 feet, and then there's a 2x4 wall, and then there's the addition. The shelves are going to go in back and forth. There's going to be a little section here that, if works out well, it will have a little slide out counter to give Melissa more counter space. But that's the plan, so just watch what we do. Or what I do, because Melissa is doing something else. Gonna turn the laser on, and I'm going to measure. All right, there we go. So you always measure twice and cut once. And there's a prime example, because the laser is right on there, but it's a little bit off here. All right, so that's our starting point. So what I'm going to do is put a line across there, and I'm then going to take that measurement and figure out where the holes for the pegs will need to go. Then make sure that that comes out to being exactly where the countertop is. If that's the case, and then I'll just keep on adding more holes to the side so that we can put the shelves up, and Melissa can take the pegs out and adjust as she needs to. So this is going to be the pain in the butt, but it's got to be. So what we're using is the shelf pins. So what we need to do to find out whereabouts this needs to go, or where I need to measure. So the way that they work is that they just imagine that this is a side view of the shelf. So this will go in to the shelf like that, and then this would be the wall. So what I have to do is measure from here to here to get that dimension, which translates to this mark here on the wall. So that's the very top. Now I got to figure out how far from the top down to the center of this peg. Once I determine the measurement from the top of the shelf to the center of the peg, then I know where to put the hole for the peg in the side wall. So that's what I'm going to do now. So it looks like 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch. And 1, 2, 3. Yep. So it's 3/8 of an inch this way, 3/8 of an inch that way. It's right in the center of the board. So that's how I am going to determine where to put the holes. So now I know that I need to measure 3/8 of an inch down from this mark, 3/8 of an inch from this mark, and continue that all the way around, and then I can go in and put a line across that so that I can build off my measurements from that line. So you always build the basement first, and that's what we're doing. We're building the basement line for the shelving, and we're going to just build up from there. So that's what I'm going to do. Perfect. You can't beat a laser. Turn the laser off. And as they say, connect the dots. Now some people will say, John, why aren't you using some chalk and a line? Because I don't have one available. It's in with all the other junk I have. So there's our basement line, folks. Now I'm doing it over on the other wall, just in case you can't see what I'm doing. So the next step is doing a plumb, and I think this does a plumb line. maybe it doesn't. All right. So keep in mind, guys, if you get this level, it doesn't do a plumb line. I thought it did, but I was mistaken. So we pause this so that I can get a level. This is one of the reasons why home improvement is frustrating. It's because you lose tools, you don't know where tools are. By the time you find them, you're pissed off. It's just the way it is. So what I need to do is I need to have a plumb line that I know is plumb. Go figure. And base all measurements from that. So thankfully, when the gentleman who put in this passageway outlining wood, they plumbed it. So it's pretty good. Yeah, I see you. I see you too, but well, anyway. So I now know that this is plumb. So I can measure this line where the old section of the house connects to the new section of the house. And base my measurements from that. So the initial pieces of wood shelves are 12 inches. So I am going to measure an inch in from the plumb line and then an inch from the back, and that's where I'll drill the hole. So now I have it marked where I am going to put or drill the holes for the pegs. Now the interesting thing is, oh, there you are. The interesting thing is that this is in millimeters. And our drill bits are not in millimeters. 3/16 looks like a 5 millimeters. Well, go figure, man. I think this works. But, as always, measure twice, cut once. I'm just going to go in the all-powerful Google and just make sure that this is going to be sufficient. Be right back. So what Mr. Google has to say is that a 5 millimeter peg is between a 3/16, which is what I have here, to a 1364, which I don't have. So we're going to use the 3/16 and just hope for the best. Now another thing, I'm not a really good, excuse me, I'm not really good at drilling, especially in a tight space like that. So instead of just going right straight for the 3/16, I'm going to drill the crosshairs that I drew on the wall, and I guess this is 1/16, maybe 2/16 inch drill bit, so that when I actually bring in the 3/16, I'll be less likely to walk the bit and ruin the wood. So I'm going to make a little divot. Go. So those are the pilot holes. Gonna switch over to the 3/16, and if I said 3/8, forgive me, for I know not what I do. All right. So always do a test, mark, cut, drill in a place that's not obvious. So I'm going to do the first hole in the back so that if something screws up, it's not going to show. All right, first hole is done. I'm gonna get out my knife and cut away the paint that has flaked up. That's why I'm doing this now. So that when I come back and paint it again, it will look halfway decent. Because I knew that if I painted it first and then drilled the holes, it won't look nice. All right, so here's the test. Taking the peg and putting it in the hole. Ha ha ha! I'm going to use this camera over here. I wonder if you can see, but anyway. So I'll show you the beauteous work. There we go. There's 1, 2, 3, and a 4. So now that I have the basement all set, time to start figuring out all the rest of the spots. And I won't bother you or bore you with all that. That was the most important. I'm talking to Duke cameras. Here is the great Samsung S8. There is the DJI Osmo Pocket. We're trying to do our best to give you the most interesting and entertaining how-to, suggestions, all that other crap on YouTube. And we're falling pretty far short. All right, I'm gonna pause everything and just go for it. Go home, read your Bible.